Good morning, everybody. November 26th, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'll be honest, I feel pretty bad. I'm feeling pretty sick. So if my voice is a little bit cracky, if you hear my kids crying in the background, it is because they are all homesick. I'm probably going to cut this video short, but I teach consistency. So here I am trying to show up and trying to be consistent. Let's talk about it. How I run my bookkeeping business when my kids are sick and also when I get sick. So let me just start by saying a couple things. And this is for my bookkeeping business and also for Zip Capital, just really any business in general. So first, before I get too far into this, we have a nanny. We have a nanny who works for us 30 hours a week. So that really helps a lot, obviously. So my situation is going to be different from your situation. If you're a solo parent or if you are the primary caretaker for your kids, or if your spouse works, or you don't have a nanny, or you have young kids, or you have no kids, everybody's situation is different. So don't compare my situation to your situation, but instead, hopefully, you can listen to some of my stories and listen to some of my strategies and maybe I don't know, maybe improve your systems or tweak your strategies for when you do have sick days. This could be applicable to you if you get sick or one of your family members gets sick. So, number one, control what you can control. You can't control when you get sick, how sick you get, if you're in the hospital, if you're bedridden for weeks. You can't control that. But what you can control is how productive you are when you're not sick. This is really, really important. Get ahead when you can. That's why I always prioritize customer service first thing in the morning. That way, if something happens in the afternoon, if one of my kids needs to be picked up from school because he threw up after lunch, I got to go pick him up, get my customer service done early in the morning, get ahead when I can. That way, I'm prepared for the unexpected. So, control how much you work when you're healthy because you can't control when you get sick. So, get ahead when you can. That's why I do every client weekly. I don't wait until the end of the month. So, if something does happen during month end close, I know that I am still ahead. I've already recorded 3/4 of the transactions. I just need to record 1 week of transactions. So, I don't wait until the very end. If I have a cleanup project, I try to start it right away. I try to get as much done as I possibly can right away. I don't like to wait for the weekend. I don't like to wait until the afternoon. I don't want to wait until Friday, Monday morning, Tuesday morning. I want to get as much work done as I possibly can. I always want to be ahead. This is good for two reasons. This is good in the event of an emergency or a sick day. Of course, if you get ahead, then you can afford to take the afternoon off. But it's also great if you don't get sick and you do get ahead, then you can just get even further ahead tomorrow or in the afternoon. So if I get all my work done early in the morning, that frees up my afternoon so that I can focus on marketing, sales, networking, growing my business. Get ahead when you can. I operate every day on a very tight margin of error. I jam pack my day. I get as much done as I possibly can every day. With that, that's good because I'm accomplishing as much as I possibly can every day. But also, my entire day gets thrown off. This morning, for example, my kids were up all night, coughing, crying, throwing up. Horrible night. I was sick. My wife's sick. All my kids are sick. Horrible night. So I was exhausted this morning. I usually wake up at 5 a.m. and get ahead on my work. I usually do a couple hours of work in the morning, but I didn't do that this morning. I woke up at 7:30 and it threw my entire day off. I operate on a very tight margin of error. So that's good because I'm jam packing every single day, back to back to back to back. My calendar's full all day. But as soon as something happens, my entire day gets thrown off. So you just need to accept it. It's going to happen. With that in mind, you also need to get ahead when you can. So every other day, wake up early. Every other day, stay up late if you're trying to grow your business. But keep in mind that if you do operate on that tight margin of error, if you mess up one thing or oversleep or sleep in or have to take a sick day, it's really going to set you back. That happens to me. I guess I'm just bringing this up because it happens. It's going to happen to you. It happens to me. So hopefully by talking about it, it'll make you feel a little bit better when it does happen. Whenever it does happen, you got to figure out what are the essentials that you need to do. Focus on the essentials. Definitely get the bookkeeping done. Maybe you don't make a post that day. If you're super sick, maybe you don't log into social media, don't do any marketing. Maybe you have to cancel that meeting that you had. I hate canceling meetings. Canceling meetings is one of the last things that I do. I try to attend every meeting. That's why working virtually, remotely is so great. I can be sick as a dog, super super sick, but I could still attend a virtual meeting. If I was meeting them in person, obviously I wouldn't do that because I feel bad and I don't want to get them sick. But if it's a virtual meeting, I could be laying in bed and I can take a virtual meeting. So I try to never cancel meetings. And then I just figure out what are the essentials that I need to do that day. Usually bookkeeping. Usually I'll sacrifice marketing or sales that day and just try to get the essentials done. There will be good days. You will absolutely have good days and you're going to have bad days. I want you to frame your mindset in this way. 50% of your days are going to be below average. 50% of your days are going to be above average. So if you go through a week and you have 2 or 3 bad days, that's normal. 2 or 3 good days, that's normal. Every day can't be the best day ever. So don't beat yourself up. If you're feeling sick, if you're having a bad day, if you're having a bad week, if you're having a bad season, it's going to happen. It happens. Half of your days are good, half of your days are bad, or at least half of your days are above average, half of your days are below average. Also, with that in mind, try to take care of yourself. I am horrible at this. I have a horrible diet. I do go to the gym, but I've got a horrible diet. I do try to prioritize sleep. So, sleep, food, and exercise are probably 3 pretty big things that we can do to take care of our bodies. We're not construction workers. We're not landscapers. We're not roofers. So, we don't literally need our physical body, but we absolutely need our brains, our minds, our creativity, our computing power, our processing power, and we need our arms, we need our back, we need our neck. So you do need to take care of yourself. You need to sleep, try to eat healthy. I'm talking to myself right now. I eat like a total pig. I have a horrible diet. I had 3 cookies for breakfast this morning. Terrible diet, self-proclaimed. I know I need to work on it, but I try to exercise every day. I try to prioritize sleep at least 7 hours every night. I do try to kind of take care of myself. I'd imagine as I get older, I will probably need to prioritize health more and more. So if you're young, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, start now. Start prioritizing your health now. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to get to the questions. So if you're watching live, feel free to ask as many questions as you can in the chat. I'm probably not going to stick around for too much longer, but if you guys ask questions, I will try to answer as many questions as I can. If you're watching the replay, I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and at 10 a.m. So if you're watching the replay and you want to watch live and ask questions, consider joining me live. If you're listening to my podcast on Apple or Spotify, I have a YouTube channel, the same name, bookkeeping expert Zach Pasquarello, the same name. You can find me on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and I get a ton of feedback, a ton of advice, a ton of criticism about this. Employees, I already know what some people are probably thinking while they're watching this video. If you're sick, if you can't work today, then you should have employees who can run your business for you. You don't really have a business if you have to work in it every day. And I would agree with you. I don't necessarily like to call myself a business owner. I will call myself self employed, maybe even entrepreneur, but not really business owner. I don't really have a business in the traditional sense because I literally have nobody working for me or with me. I literally do everything. I have a very high paying self employed job. Honestly, I make a ton of money, but I don't have any employees who work for me. And I guess there's pros and cons. A ton of business gurus, a ton of business experts are probably trying to encourage you to outsource everything, hire employees, remove yourself from the day to day. And I think that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I also want to be a voice for the other people. who might not feel that way. I only have 5 years of experience, but I don't know. I've always enjoyed running my business. I've always enjoyed being self employed, having a job as my business. I don't know. I've never had employees. Who knows? Maybe I'll get 5 to 10 employees, and I'll think I gave the stupidest advice ever. But right now, for where I am in my life, I really like what I'm doing. Here's the thing: doing bookkeeping and managing bookkeepers, two totally different jobs. So if you really like doing bookkeeping and you're feeling this external pressure to hire employees and to manage your business from the high level, and you don't necessarily want to do that, I guess the whole point of me bringing this up is let me reassure you, let me encourage you, you don't have to do that. You can just simply be a self employed bookkeeper the rest of your life. You can make $200,000 per year, you could work 20 to 30 hours per week, and you could have an amazing life. Nothing wrong with that. I think if you want to make two, three, four, $5 million per year, then yes, you will probably need to hire people and get a business. But I've never made more than $1 million per year, so I can't really give advice on that. It's just always been me. One of the good things about this is that I'm not relying on anybody. That's always kind of been my thought process. If I hire somebody and it goes poorly, then I have to train them and then fire them and then hire somebody else. I don't know. I just never wanted to do that. And I guess that's just me being pessimistic. I guess I could be optimistic and think, well, what if you hire somebody and it goes great and they stick around for 3 years and they enable you to double your business? This has been a constant struggle. So this is not just a, hey, Zach, you should hire employees. Okay, I'll go do that. This has been a 3 or 4 year constant struggle where I talk to people, I talk to mentors, I talk to people more experienced, I talk to people less experienced. I've gotten a ton of advice. So I guess I'm just struggling out loud with you because I'm sure you're feeling some similar pressures. So it's never going to be, there's never going to be a perfect answer. You're never going to have the perfect solution. I would do whatever you want to do. Don't do whatever somebody else wants you to do. Don't do what you think other people think you should do. Do what you want to do. If you want to hire employees, amazing, hire employees. If you don't want to manage employees and you're okay with being a high paid self-employed bookkeeper, that's amazing too. Like I said, 200, $300,000 per year, you could be self-employed and you can run your own business and do the bookkeeping. That is an amazing life. So that's where I am right now. I've never had any employees. I do everything myself. Not saying it's the right way to do it, not saying it's the wrong way to do it. It's just the way I'm choosing to do it. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's get into the questions real quick. Amanda Rose, have you gotten many clients from the QBO Pro Advisor profile? No, I haven't, but I also have not put in a ton of effort into my QBO Pro Advisor profile. So here's what I found: it doesn't matter what you do, it matters where you spend your time and where you put your effort. If you have a blog and if you every day you write a killer blog, I would be willing to bet that you would get some clients from SEO and from your blog. If you spend an hour every day on Facebook creating content, engaging with your community, and growing your network, you're probably going to get clients on Facebook. If you try really hard to optimize your QBO Pro Advisor profile, or if you try really hard to optimize your Google My Business profile, you're probably going to get clients from there. So I really don't think it matters where you do it, what you do. It just matters that you do something. Brent Killian, do you use any service like Dropbox? I use Google Drive. So Google Suite hosts my email, and then I get Google Drive with my Google Suite. So I pay $6 per month, and then I get access to Google Drive. And it seems like a lot of my clients also use Google Drive. Bookkeeping, Conroe, I'm being consistent, doing lots of social media, and it's working. Let's go. Bookkeeping, Conroe. It's working. Love to see that. Thanks for the motivation, Zach. Bookkeeping, Conroe, thanks for letting us know, because there's a lot of people on this call, on this video. There's almost 40 people watching right now. There's people just like you who need to see that, need to hear that. Because it's one thing for me to sit here and say that it worked for me, but it's really special when other people are just getting started and it's working for them. So seriously, thank you for your honesty. Kimberly Kendrick, good morning, Zach. I love watching your videos. I have took a lot away from these videos. I have found 3 CPAs that want to do referrals. Kimberly, that's amazing. Congratulations. Bookkeeping Conroe, also using Google Analytics to track visitors, working in making a funnel that shows people how to use QBO for $10 a month, self-serve solution. That's great. That's what it's all about. Just figure out what works for you. Figure out what you like doing. If you love Google Analytics and SEO, go all in on that. You can absolutely make that to be an incredible lead generation source for you and your bookkeeping business. Next question. Is Zip Capital a hard money lender? Yes, my investment fund is a real estate hard money lender, real estate private money lender. Still don't really know the difference between hard money and private money. But yes, Zip Capital does real estate lending for real estate investors only in Pennsylvania. So I guess since you brought it up real quick, I will mention this video is sponsored by my investment fund, Zip Capital. I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns to accredited investors. If you have $25,000 sitting around in a savings account, money market account, bank CD, and you want to earn 8 to 12% fixed returns, depending on how much you invest, there's a link down below. You can register on my website and we can chat about it. Would you consider a one time investor who is not accredited? I don't have the income to be accredited yet, but I'm debt free with $80,000 to invest. Unfortunately, Zip Capital can only accept accredited investors. But if you want to chat, send me an email. I will send you an email, or I will write my email address right here, Zach at harrisburgbookkeeping.com. Send me an email. Who was that? 186 Italia. Send me an email and we can just talk about it. We can see if there's an option for you. But if you want to invest in Zip Capital, you must be accredited, but I would still like to talk to you. So send me an email and I'd love to set up a time to chat. Hey, Zach, do you reply anything if they answer just thank you after your DM in LinkedIn? No, not really. So my DM that I send in LinkedIn, hey, I'm a bookkeeper. Let me know if you ever need help with your QuickBooks. If they just say thank you, that's probably just an auto response. That's probably just an auto response. They're probably not actually interested in your services. If they were, they would probably say a little bit more than just thank you. So I don't reply anything. I don't reply to that. I don't treat that as a warm lead. I don't treat that like somebody who's interested. M. Jackson, is your business or service a productized service, fixed cost, fixed deliverable outcomes type of thing? Could you explain that question a little bit more, M. Jackson? Did you at one point transition from full time employee to entrepreneurship? How did you prep to make the leap? Okay, yes. So I was working at Amazon as an area manager for 5 months before I quit. So I started my bookkeeping business in October. I was working at Amazon and then I quit my job in March. So I made a ton of sacrifices. I kept my full-time job because I wanted to do two things. I wanted to make sure I had enough money to support myself. I also wanted to make sure that my bookkeeping business was going to work. I didn't want to just that would be pretty irresponsible, I think, because I had a family, and I had kids, and I had a mortgage and bills to pay. I wanted to make sure that my bookkeeping business was actually going to work before I quit my full time job. So if you're living in your parents' basement and you have zero bills to pay, then you can do whatever you want. But if you've got a family and responsibilities and bills to pay, you have to be much more strategic with how you transition away from your full time job. So I kept my full time job and I made a ton of sacrifices. So quit fantasy football, woke up early, stayed up late, worked on the weekends. I just tried to work every second of my day that I had available that I wasn't at my full time job or with my family. So for 5 months, I was grinding, sacrificing, and growing my bookkeeping business to the point where I had probably 3 or 4 clients. And I got one big cleanup project. I got a big $9,000 cleanup project. And it was at that point where I thought, well, geez, I'll just do this cleanup project and try to get more bookkeeping clients. And if it fails, I can always go back to work in 3 to 6 months. And spoiler alert, it did not fail. It was very successful. So, two things: save up 3 to 6 months, probably 6 months of living expenses. So figure out how much money you need to live every month and make sure you have 6 months of expenses saved up. But then also make sure that your bookkeeping business actually works. Like, get a couple clients first, do the bookkeeping for a couple months, get paid, make some money first before you quit your job. Next question. What is the best advice or method to always keep motivation like you always do? As you say, it is lonely and very easy to lose motivation. You need to learn to enjoy the process. So there's so many things going through my head right now. I am afraid of losing. I'm very competitive. I enjoy the process and I'm very consistent. And when I get my mind onto doing something, I don't give up. So here's the thing. So I want to win every day. So my victory every day are my inputs, not my outputs. So my input is the work that I do. That's the victory. That's the process. That's the journey. I enjoy winning. I'm competitive. I enjoy the process. The outputs, the outcome, the results, getting investors in Zip Capital or getting new bookkeeping clients, really, or even views on your videos, comments, engagements, impressions, the analytics on your content. Those are the outcomes, the outputs. We have no control over that. I have no control over who decides to invest in Zip Capital. I could get $1 million this month. I could get $0 this month. I really have no control over who decides to invest in Zip Capital this month. What I do have control over is my decision to make these videos every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to talk about Zip Capital on YouTube every day, to make Facebook posts, to reach out to warm leads. So I have control over the inputs. I don't have control over the outputs. If you obsess over the outputs, you're going to feel defeated. You're going to get discouraged because you're not winning, because you're not getting bookkeeping clients, you're not getting Zip Capital investors. Instead, focus on the inputs. That is your victory. That's your daily win. And I don't know about you, I'm sure the majority of you want to do a good job. You want to succeed. You want to win. So your goal today is to create one piece of social media marketing content and engage with 10 to 15 of your Facebook followers' posts and send 20 friend requests. That is your goal today. And then make that your goal every day for the next 30 days. And if you want to win, if you want to succeed, you're going to accomplish your goal. So your goal is not to get a bookkeeping client in the next 30 days. Your goal is to just do the inputs every day that are going to lead to you eventually getting a bookkeeping client. So that's how I stay motivated. I stay motivated. I focus on the process. I focus on the inputs. I enjoy the journey. I love being an entrepreneur. I love being a business owner. I love growing Zip Capital. I love making these videos. I love coaching and teaching people how to do what I've done. You really just need to enjoy the process. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, next question. Faith sparkles clean. Zach, a million thanks. In the last 3 weeks, I have earned my bookkeeping pro advisor level 2, social media pages, and LLC. Thank you. I am so excited to embark on this journey. Let's go. Faith sparkles clean. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. One more thing I forgot to mention about the motivation, staying motivated. So, we consume a lot of content, obviously. There are days where I'm feeling unmotivated. So there's motivation and then there's discipline. So discipline, you can't fake discipline. You can't watch a movie and get discipline. Discipline is going to come from within. You're either disciplined, you either have discipline or you don't have it. You can grow. I think you can strengthen your discipline by committing to doing something small every day and then actually sticking with it. And you can grow your ability to be disciplined, but there's also motivation. So motivation is really simple. You could watch a 2-minute YouTube video and you could become motivated. You could watch this video, you could listen to this podcast, you can get motivated, you can get inspired. So don't confuse motivation and discipline. Discipline is something from that comes from within. You need to be disciplined. That's going to come from you making the hard choices every day, making the sacrifices every day and staying committed to being consistent for a long period of time. That's discipline. But there are times where I'm feeling temporarily unmotivated. And so in those moments, I will try to leverage some other social media influencers, some other business gurus. Like I'll throw in a podcast. I've got the Bible app on my phone. So I try to listen to the Bible app every single day for some daily motivation, some daily inspiration. I'll try to listen. I like Alex Hormozy. I'll listen to his podcast whenever I'm feeling uninspired, driving in the car, working out, eating lunch, great opportunities to consume some really high quality content that will hopefully motivate and inspire you, and also potentially give you some ideas for some content creation or give you some business ideas for growing your business. So, in moments that I'm feeling particularly uninspired or unmotivated, I will try to lean on and leverage some of that content that I can consume that'll help motivate me. Okay, last questions. M. Jackson, how do you balance running your business, exercising, health, and the distractions that come from working from home? It's all about discipline. You have to be disciplined every single day. There's no secret sauce. There's no magic answer. I've got my home office. I lock the door, and I don't sit in my living room and watch Netflix for 2 hours every day. I just sit in my office and I just work. It just comes down to the discipline. I go to the gym every day at 12 p.m. I go live every day at 10 a.m. I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. I work every day until 5 p.m. I create social media marketing content every day. I've got my list of bookkeeping clients. I do their bookkeeping every single day. So you slowly build up to it. You come up with a routine and you do the same things every single day. You don't skip, you don't take days off. With exception, of course, if you're feeling sick, if you need a break, then absolutely take a vacation, take a break, take a sick day. But you slowly build up to it. I didn't wake up 5 years ago and manage a $4 million real estate loan portfolio and manage 70 bookkeeping clients. I didn't wake up to this magically one day. I slowly built up to it. I had two or three bookkeeping clients, and then I got $50,000, and then I started lending out $100,000. And so Zip Capital, Harrisburg Bookkeeping, they've slowly grown. So I've slowly dialed in my discipline on a daily basis. But yeah, there really is no secret strategy to balancing life in general. You just need to come up with a routine, come up with a schedule, be disciplined every day, and be consistent. That's it, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving Eve. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm not going to go live tomorrow. I'm going to be spending time with my family. Maybe Friday. Who knows? I'm not sure what's going to happen on Friday. Maybe I'll go live, maybe not. So I will either see you on Friday or I'll see you next Tuesday. I hope everybody has a great holiday, a great Thanksgiving. God bless you. And I will see you all next time. Appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.